as well. So, and then Walter as well. And then as well. So, and then Walter as well. And then, of course, I acknowledge another family member here, and that's my pastor, Keith Norman. So, thank you all. Okay.
All right, colleagues, we are voting to approve the appointment of Chief Operating Officer Antonio Adams Sr. with same night minutes. With voice, we already moved it and seconded it. But we'll do this by voice acclamation. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Why are you saying aye over there? You're not saying it over here. All right, the ayes have it. This goes down for same night minutes votes on this afternoon. Congratulations, Chief Adams. All right. All right, you all. Second item on the agenda, the appointment of Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Walter Person. Second. Moved by Chairman Smiley, second by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Mr. Person, name and address for the record, and any words you'd like to share.
Yes, Chair Lady. My name is Walter Person. I am the interim CFO, 125 North Main. And I want to take the time to say that this has been a wonderful and painful experience. It's been wonderful because I've had the opportunity to work with you, to learn from you, and hopefully to help you along the way. I've enjoyed every moment of my career here at the city of Memphis. I started here in 2020. I've worked in several jobs, but this has been by far the most rewarding. The opportunity to work with the Young administration, and I want to thank Mayor Young today for having this level of confidence in me, has been the joy of my life. My mother's here, and my cousin right over there. Thank you for that. And I echo Chief Adams in saying that she was the original rock in my life, she and my father. I lost my father in February of last year, and she has continued to be that rock for our family. But she can tell you from a young child's age, I used to read the financial reports. I was a weird child. But that's how much of a drive and an ambition I had around the area of finance, and most of my career has been in the finance arena. This has been, again, by far the most rewarding job because this is my city. I was born here. I live my life here. I now have a small son who's attending school here himself, and this is personal for me. The other jobs I had, they had an impact, but this I see tangibly every day. When I see something happen to an officer, that affects me. When we make a new move on developing an area downtown or an area in South Memphis, that affects me and it affects you. So there are real tangible aspects to this job that I didn't envision before, but I really have grown to enjoy now. It's been a growth process, but it's been an enjoyable growth process. And you all have been great about working with me, supporting me, and holding me accountable. And I appreciate that because through that process, I have really grown. And thank you for even entertaining this appointment at this time. And I'll be quiet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Person. First in the queue, we have Councilwoman Green.
See, I'm starting first this time because we haven't knocked heads. I want to say to you thank you because this budget process was a nice way to say is difficult. And I brought a lot of things, a lot of ideas to you. Tried to bring you some revenue, Mayor. But you were so helpful and kind on helping us figure out how to get that implemented. You received everything so well. And that's hard when you're working, I know, because I work in administration, to get those last minute ideas or inputs from council and then to incorporate it. And so I am so grateful for your open mind and your open heart. You know, we talked about the reasons why we wanted to do some things, and we shared a lot around like our care for the retirees and, you know, the impacts of our budget on them, right? So I am grateful that you are willing to listen. That's such a important skill in the position you're in. And I am thankful that you are so thoughtful and detail-oriented in what you do. So I'm looking forward to approving your appointment, hopefully with same night minutes, and getting you on board so that we can continue to have these really important discussions, because there is nothing more important that we do here as a council than, you know, this budget and overseeing these dollars that aren't ours for our city's betterment. So you have such a vital role, and I think you're exactly the right person at exactly the right time. So thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Next in the queue, we have Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell you, we appreciate your consistent, calm spirit. Regardless of what happens, you remain professional, and you know, we just really appreciate that. And also the leadership that you have brought to the finance department. It has made the morale go up, and the team members really feel valued and appreciated. So your leadership has mattered, and it is my privilege to support your nomination.
Thank you.
I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Next, we have Councilman Ford.
I'm back again. Number man. I like numbered people. I mean, we can keep everything in order. Because if you don't know the numbers, we kind of get messed around. We've seen all of that on the council. It's been great working with you, all the rest, and I just have to go back. Use a capital. But you might want to put alpha in front of capital, alpha capital. So hey, so you're a great person, you know, because sometimes it makes a difference. That's why I say you more an alpha than a capital, even though you are a capital. But hey, but you're a number man, and hey, you're great, and you keep on doing what you're doing. And we appreciate everything you do, because you brought us through this last budget that we had to look at, okay? And we got through it, didn't we?
Yes, sir, we did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Person, I am so delighted to support your nomination. I have been impressed with you since I met you. You're such a gentle giant, and it's important in your role to, you know, be focused on the dollars and the cents in the bag. And I appreciate that you're not rattled about a lot of, because we were rattled this budget season, but you remain constant and kept it about making sure that our credit rating was good, that we put our money back in the bank, and that we are fiscally sound and doing what we need to do with the people's money. So I really appreciate you staying focused on that and always, you know, keeping it about that mission. And I look forward to continuing to work with you and to grow with you in this city as we make sure we're fiscally sound and got good credit. So thank you for what you've done, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Once again, I always try to look for the most spiritual thing, and that's just who I am. And from the time that I met you, before you became interim, it was the first time I had one council, and the only thing that I could think about was your humility, how humble you were. And it brought me back to James 4:10 when I think about that. When you humble yourself before the mighty hand of God, in due season, he will lift you. And you are now being lifted because God saw fit and God saw so to do so. From the past, I don't know anything about it, but from when I met you from the present, your spirit has always been gentle. And you've always said to me out of every conversation that we end with, and before I left after your office, I just want to do what's right for the people and for the city of Memphis. You say that every time that you are in conversation, every time that you are engaging. And so your humility has shown. And so by God's grace, a lot of people can't be humble in different positions that they're in. That's a very hard task. But in the eyes of God and through my spirit and through the Holy Spirit speaking to you, you have passed the humble test. So now you're being lifted up. I appreciate you more than you can ever know. And as I said to Chief Adams, I love me some Walter, Pearson, you know, I'll call you anything when I'm all over the place. But I love you and I appreciate you and I love you to the moon.
Thank you.
I yield the floor.
Councilwoman Walker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, Mayor, thank you for this appointment. I had the pleasure of meeting your mother at the Sidney Chisholm picnic, and after you introduced us, I said, you have done a great job with Melvin. That's what I said. I've been very impressed with you as well. I enjoyed your humble spirit in situations where it was, and you still just show up that same calm way. You're very patient in sharing the information and explaining things and sometimes re-explaining things where we can understand. And I do appreciate that. I have learned a lot from you. It has supported and enhanced my being a neophyte in this position and the greater picture of just understanding this job and how the city operates and all of that. And Memphis is very grateful for you, very lucky, if I can use that word, to have you, and blessed to have you on board. I thought Cooper Sutton took care of all that, but thank you, Mr. Chair. And you're just fine. I'm just having fun. And it's a fun day. This is a good day. This is a happy day, y'all, for the city of Memphis. And I just want y'all to know that. And I'll just close out with that. One Memphis. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilwoman White.
Walter, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Y'all about to make me do, oh, happy day. I'm just kidding.
Back to that humbleness. He didn't flinch a bit.
He didn't. And that's what I was about to say. Many of you all don't know because we're just talking, and I don't know if you all attended any of the budget hearings, but they were pretty intense. We were learning a lot, and as we got through the process, you showed your true grit and your true commitment to the city of Memphis. Those were some trying times, and probably more so for you probably than any of us, because you were the person that we were relying on to bring us back good information. And the blessing in that is that we knew that what you brought back to us was going to be credible, it was going to be vetted, and if you said it, it was the truth. And that's awesome. We are so grateful for you. And oftentimes you don't see people, a lot of times it's just a blessing to have people like you in government and just your spirit of excellence. And I just want to say thank you for all that you've done for us. And we are excited about you being our actual chief now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Chairman Smiley.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think it was in 2020 we saw Chief Person in a different capacity. And I think I was sitting next to then Chairman Jones at the time. He said, Smile, look at this. And I look at it. He passed me your resume. And we said, man, I got 2 Ivy League degrees. And what he said at this time, so he somewhat prophetic. What he said at the time, he said, he's in the wrong position. He said he should be where he's sitting here today. So to Martavius Jones' credit, he knew what he was talking about. He listens to everything. So let me not give him any more credit. But he said this in 2020 when you were in a different capacity. He talked about how impressed impressive you were, talked about how impressive your resume was. And I'm gonna tell you my concern. I said, maybe he's just a little too passive. You know, he doesn't talk too much. He doesn't push his ideas or agenda, although he's probably the smartest person in the room. Sorry, Antonio. Because Antonio, y'all know I'm a fan. Sorry, Mayor. Okay. So what I was so impressed about, because he's not normally in a front-facing role. We had a community meeting in Cordova at Hope Church, and he faced a lot of, I guess the nicest way to say it, criticism, and he did it with a smile. To hear people tell you you're not anything, you don't know much, and you do it with a smile, and you know what you're telling them is the facts, it takes a very strong man. So we appreciate you. We're going to keep fighting, but we appreciate you in this role. We appreciate your leadership, and we appreciate your very humble spirit. You don't boast, you don't brag, you don't tell people you know the numbers better than them. You sit back, listen, and then you give a valid explanation. So we appreciate you. We appreciate the mayor's leadership for putting you in this position. And we're not going to tell Chairman Jones he was right. But thank you so much. We look forward to voting for you today. And hopefully, with all these degrees, you don't leave us, you stay here.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Warren.
Thank you. Can you tell me what's on your tie?
It's the crest with the Latin phrase veritas, which means truth.
And I just want to know that it's really hard for me to look at that Harvard crest and say that I'm going to have to vote for him. But the truth is, I think you're the man for the job. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any more council members in the queue? All right. Well, Mr. Person, I just echo everything that my colleagues have said. So I just look forward to serving out the remainder of this term with you and Chief Adams and Mayor Young. And obviously, you know, when we go through the next budget cycle, right? Remember this day and all of these words.
I will.
Just replay the video and just know that we're in so much support of you. Okay, we're not gonna let you fail because you're not gonna let the city fail, and so we're all gonna succeed together. Colleagues, let's go to a vote for appointment of Chief Financial Officer Walter Person with same night minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Bet not. All right. All right. So, Mr. Person, this goes down this afternoon. Congratulations. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, colleagues, 2 more items. Next item, we have appointment, Memphis and Shelby County Economic Development and Growth Engine EDGE President, Ms. Joanne Massie, with a request for same night minutes. Can I get a motion in a second? Second. Motion by Ford Sr., second by Swearingen Washington. We want to make sure we hear everything, y'all. All right, Ms. Massie, if you would give your name and address for the record and any words you'd like to share.
There we go. Thank you, Councilwoman and Council. Thank you so much for having me here. It means a lot to me to be before you all in this moment. Joanne Massie, my address, 7134 Oak Chase Lane, Memphis, Tennessee, 38125. In true Joanne fashion, I had a whole presentation for you with a bunch of numbers and a bunch of pictures. But as I sat here in this room, with my sorority sisters and my Link sisters and my daughter texting me on my phone and watching, I realized that the most important thing for me to say to you all is that I'm ready. Not only am I merely qualified, I'm very qualified to do this work. And for the last 13 months, I've been leading EDGE in the things that we're doing. the impact that we're making in the community and on people's lives. I have my team here with me, and I would just love for them to stand up because they're the ones really doing the work. So if the EDGE team could stand up, please. And I would be remiss not to give credit to the person who brought me here in this moment, who gave the confidence in believing that I could do this job, who nominated me, our mayor, Mayor Paul Young. My only thing that I want to add is that this isn't easy work. It's never perfect. Nobody is, and I'm certainly not. But what I do believe is that we have hope in Memphis, and it's up to us to do something about what we're seeing, not just for businesses, not corporations, but for the kids in our community today who are going to be our leaders tomorrow. And if we don't do something now, we're going to be talking about the same thing 20 years from now. And so I just leave you with that. I'm happy to give you a copy of my PowerPoint because I love PowerPoints. But I'm humbly asking you all to approve this recommendation, and let's continue to work together.
Councilwoman White.
Thank you. I say that I am supporting this nomination. Since I have been on the council, I've had several meetings with Director Massie, and they have really been inspiring. I'm excited about us moving forward here in the city. And one thing about it is you have to be passionate in the work that you do, and you are truly passionate about it. And you're also open to ways that we can be better and things that we need to review and change. I use it all the time where I say we have to monitor and adjust, and I appreciate your willingness to listen. And I'll be the first to say it. We've had some tough conversations, and the mayor knows it too. And I appreciate how receptive you've been and how instead of, saying this is the way we do it, you've come back to me with ways that we can figure out how to make it better. And that is exciting, encouraging, and we know that we need economic development in our city. So I applaud you and I thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you so much for accepting the nomination. I'm so excited to support you. And when you said that you're ready, that is so true. That is the word for today, because the journey that you've taken to get here is one that includes everything that's needed: community, education, access, leadership, all of that. I remember when you were, I don't know how many people knew you were going to school at Harvard and virtually and doing so many other things, but you always had time whenever I called to talk about community. You always had time to let's talk about some ideas and thoughts and how we can expand and how we can change things and, how we can leverage. And I really appreciated that because it helped me as a legislator and it helped me as a woman in the community, and just to see the vision that you have for the position that you're sitting in, that you'll be sitting in now. So I'm so excited for Memphis. I'm excited for the collaboration that I know will take place within all of these organizations that need to happen, and where that's going to take us as a city. A lot of people have counted Memphis out, but as we see here today, we have the ingredients for an amazing city. A lot of people have left, but I appreciate you doing what's necessary to come back and lead, not just talk about it or talk about the city, but make a change by your leadership. So I definitely am in support of. I thank God for your spirit. I know that strength is not pride or haughtiness. Some people may confuse that, and all of us are growing, but you have the right disposition for that position, and I'm glad to support you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Councilwoman Swearingen, Washington.
Thank you, Chair. Well, not only are you a dynamic member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, shout out to all my beautiful sorors that are out there as well, but you have definitely been doing the work. You are in the community all the time. You're partnering, you're networking, you're innovative, you're bringing ideas, and you are ready. And it is my privilege to support this nomination. I know that you will continue to be fantastic and just continue to let us know as a council what we can do to support you. So thank you, Mayor, for picking all of these outstanding candidates. You have really done an outstanding job. So we appreciate you. We look forward to working with you. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mayor, for this nomination. When I look at you, Director Massie, and I remember when I got elected, you reached out to me. And the conversation that you had, and when I think about the Word of God, it was true love. It was love that you showed me. And you encouraged me as a Black woman to do what I know to do. But the love that you showed me, the conversations we've had on the cuff and off the cuff, I appreciate you. When I look at you with first love, intuition, and a woman of power. I see you moving this city economically in a place it's never seen before. And the weight that's on your shoulder, I know with God's strength, love, you will move us where we need to be. Not saying that it would be easy, but I want you to know that you have my 100% support. So congratulations, and you have my vote, my sister. I'm not an AKA, you know, but I am a Jesus girl with you.
Right.
And I love you. And I love you to the moon and back.
Thank you.
I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Green.
A little bit of business before I say some nice things. I do work for the county government, and this is a joint appointment, so I just want to note that on the record. The good news is there's no conflict. My boss also thinks you should have this job. You know, when I think of you, we've been friends for a long time, but I think of excellence. That's, you know, the first word that comes to mind to me. But I'm on the board of Girls Inc., and we have this Girls Bill of Rights, and there's one that you just embodied so well today. It says to take risk, to strive freely, and to take pride in your own success. And you are such an exemplar of that part of what we try to infuse into the girls of Memphis. You do great work. You take big leaps of faith, and you're not too shy to pat yourself on the back and said, we did a good job. And that is a good thing. That is a good thing, and more girls and women should do that. And so there's so many wonderful things that everybody's already said that you've done for our community, and so many reasons to support your nomination today, the work that you've put in. But I just want to highlight that for me, you are what I want our girls in Memphis to grow up to be.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Walker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mayor, again. And thank you for being who you are. I'm not an AKA either, but I am a pearl.
Yes,
and you are a pearl. You are a rare and precious gem.
Thank you.
Which means that Memphis has a rare and precious gem. I see nothing but great things for you in your future. Thank you for being such an excellent role model for this community, especially for females, girls, and adults. I find you to be inspiring, really and truly inspiring, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with you on some projects. And with that, I'll say, one Memphis.
That's going to stick by the end of the day, huh? It's stuck. Chairman Smiley.
I think I'd be quick. So one of the reasons I'm gonna support this appointment, when I look at this role and what leadership should look like in the city of Memphis, is someone who's visible, always present, willing to answer the phone when folks call you, whether they're in elected position or whether they're servicing the city in a different capacity. And I know that Joanne is gonna continue to do that. She's consistently show up in community events when it has nothing to do with Edge. She shows up to every single thing that she physically can be there. And if she doesn't show up, you guarantee the member of her team is going to be there as well. So we appreciate that. I appreciate your willingness to serve, your passion for the city of Memphis, but not just the fact that she's present, but she's capable. And she's more than capable for doing this job. Look forward to you continue to do great things. I look forward to calling you and getting on your nerves, talk about what we need to be doing with Edge, and you telling me very politely, Chairman, now slow down. Maybe we need to do this way. But, grateful for the mayor for putting you in this role and looking forward to see what you do in this position. You have my support, and it seems like you're going to have the support of this council as well. So looking forward to great things.
Thank you, Chairman Smiley. Mary Young, did you want to say anything? This computer blocks my view from over here, so I forgot you.
Y'all been on a roll, so I don't have to say anything. But I just co-sign everything that you all said. I've known Joanne for many, many years before I even thought about being an elected official. And so as a colleague and peer, I know she's someone that is dedicated, committed, and loves this city. And we've seen it throughout her career. And I expect nothing but great things from Edge. And so, I had a conversation with Mayor Harris, and same thing will happen on the other side of the street, and the joint appointment will be official. But I thank you all for all of the remarks you made today.
Thank you, Mayor. And with no other colleagues, Joanne, I'm just so excited for you. One thing I think about is patience, right? Patience and waiting for your time. Right? And I think you've really embodied that. And whether you know it or not, that really influences and has impacted so many who are looking at you, looking to you, and will be looking at you as well. So just remembering that's a part of your legacy and what you're starting now at Edge. And I look forward to, and with all the team here, just seeing how we can move business differently in Memphis, right? What does that renewed spirit of Edge look like? My colleagues have talked about how you're different, how your team moves different, how just you as a person and how you're thinking about economics and then coming from a diversity background, that's different. So I look forward to seeing what different things that we're going to be able to support and put out to the folks, our constituents, about what Edge is doing differently that's really going to take Memphis in a much better direction economically, developmentally, and for our businesses, small to large. So I'm excited to see the possibilities, especially with you at the helm. So colleagues, let's go to a vote for the appointment of the Memphis and Shelby County Economic Development and Growth Engine President, Joanne Massie, with same night minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Congratulations, Ms. Massie. All right, y'all got time for one more? Yeah. Okay. It's everybody's pastor. All right, so we have an appointment for the Memphis and Shelby County Land Use Control Board. Pastor Keith Norman, can I get a motion in a second? Second. Motion by Spinoza, second, you can't say everybody, second by Swearingen Washington. And this is also gonna be up for same night minutes. Pastor Norman, would you give your name and address for the records and any words you'd like to share?
Sure, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to our mayor and to all of you on our council. I'm Keith Norman. I'm the senior servant leader at First Baptist Church. I also serve as Vice President of Government Affairs for Baptist Memorial Healthcare. Address 2835 Broad Avenue is where the preponderance of my work has been over the past 25 years. if I could take any credit, two of the three people you just passed were my church members, so that ought to count for some. And I'm grateful that they are a part of your esteemed group. I've been praying for them, and I also pray with Joanne on a regular basis. We're all part of just really people who want to see our city be better, and we've all worked to make that happen, whether it is a formal or an informal role that we play. We're going to do the work every day because we love the city of Memphis. I'm happy to be tapped by this mayor and asked to serve. I love his vision. And I also commented to other colleagues that I've talked to, I love the harmony by which I see this team working to make this city a better place. Harmonious council is always more encouraging to the citizenry. I have one thing that Dr. Warren won't like is that my experience in community development was attained at Harvard. So you may not appreciate that. And I already know I'm in trouble with you because we have fraternal differences at Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, but God bless you. All right. I lost a couple, so I figured that. Thank you.
Yeah, funny. Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chair. I am so excited, Pastor Norman, to see that this is the place that you've landed. This area is so important in our city, and a lot of people don't realize how important it is. And so to have you there coming with a community perspective as well as spiritual perspective and the equity and the excellence that you will desire for the people as well as for the city. And, you know, I always talk to Director Zena about the Board of Adjustments and this board being so important, and people don't understand, and having people on the board that understand what they're voting on and how the impact it's going to have on the community and the development. So I am very excited. I'm grateful that you chose this area because of what it will mean to the city. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And my father's a pastor as well. So, you know, of course, I have an affinity to that, and knowing that you won't just be making decisions on your own, but you will be led in your decisions. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Look forward to working with you.
Councilman Ford.
You know, I can say something. Panhellenic Council.
Yeah.
Alpha always first. We first, and we helped everybody along the way. Sororities and fraternities. We were the beginning, and we helped us all. Y'all understand that one. My wife is a Delta. Her mother is an AKA.
Yeah.
Pop-in-law is an Omega.
That's right.
We go on down the line, every one of the fraternities and sororities. But when you got great people like you, and like our director there, you know, we can always have Alpha, Omega, Kappas, AKAs down the line, as long as you got the right ones.
Right.
Okay? Because that's what makes up the Panhellenic Council, okay? You got us all together. That makes a difference when it comes down to this election coming on. What they call us, the 9, don't it? Okay? Yep, so that always makes the difference, isn't it? So I work with you. I've been knowing you all my life, just about really your life almost, because you're not as old as I am. But hey, you've been great in every endeavor. And you just keep it up, and it's great to have you on this particular board. And maybe we can make a few little changes, and you stay on them, because they're going to be coming up after a while anyway. So, hey, you know what to do. I appreciate you, and you know I love you. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Pastor Norman, I don't know if you recall, but I met you many, many years ago, and it was with Dr. Wallace and Anne Marie Wallace. And I sit back and I watch. I don't say very much. I don't know. You're very renowned in the city of Memphis. People know you everywhere. But what I have noticed and what I have seen through the power of the Holy Ghost and the Holy Spirit, that you're a man of faith, which speaks volumes. You kind of remind me of the man of Moses, of great faith that had to go on a journey, not knowing where, but having the faith. And when I think about Hebrews 11 and I look at Moses in Hebrews 11 in the big faith chapter, that's what I see, a man of faith. To be on this board means, and I hope you understand what it really entails. For a city that looks like Memphis that is predominantly black, we need someone like you, a man of faith, and understand what land means and how important it was from the book of Genesis to Revelation. And how we have been lacked of land in this city. So you are sitting in a position to change the narrative, spiritually and naturally. So I support you, and I'm very prayerful that every time that you look and every time that you are on that committee and there is something brought before you, that you align yourself and you synchronize yourself with the kingdom of God to move this city where it needs to be with equality and fairness and honesty. So you have my grace through the grace of God. And I love you too, to the moon and back. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cooper Sutton. Chairman Smiley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I've been critical of a lot of these boards because what usually happens when we appoint people to boards, they essentially serve as an echoing for whoever's leading and just kind of rubber stamps every single thing. The reason I'm excited about this appointment, if you don't know Pastor Norm, he doesn't really believe in just going along to get along. He's going to tell you his truth and he's going to be done with it. So I'm eager to see you serve, eager to see you push back against doing things the way that's always been done. I'm just grateful for your leadership, and I look forward to seeing how critical you are and in the goal of making things better. So grateful the mayor allowed you to serve in this role, and grateful that this council is going to do the right thing and put you there. So thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Next, we have Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Thank you, Chair. I am so excited about this appointment because not only are you a pastor and your experience with the hospital, but the redevelopment that you have done in the Binghamton community is just amazing. You invested in that community when people turned their heads. You took your church, you went across the street, you built an incredible facility, and you did it in such a unique way where it would be a blessing to the community. If you're on the expressway, if you're going down Gene Snyder, your church has bought property and invested in that community. You are the right person for this position, and we are just absolutely excited. It is my honor and my privilege to support this appointment. I yield the floor.
So well said, Councilwoman. Councilwoman White.
Dr. Pastor Norman. When I think of you, I was so excited to see you come in before us today. I think one word came to mind. It was visionary. You are truly a visionary for the city. And I'm excited to see you on this board. That's probably one of the biggest reasons. For every conversation that I've ever had with you, it's always, how do we move forward? How do we empower people? How do we create a city and a space where everyone is able to thrive? And that is just, when I think of just all the things that you do, I was looking up a word, and the only word I could find was like polymath. But a person who just knows a little bit about everything and can move in almost any space and is a true problem solver. We are just so grateful for you. You are a blessing. And again, I used that word earlier. You're a treasure. You're a treasure to our city. And we're so grateful for all that you do.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Green.
I need to make the same, this qualification or whatever at the beginning. My job is at Shelby County Government, and again, this will not be a conflict. So I just want to make sure that that's out there and on the record. But we've had chances to work together on the other side of the street, and I'm excited that we're going to continue to do great things to Memphis with Memphis together, because that's what you do. Everything you touch is just really fantastic. So I'm glad you're going to be a part of this board.
And Councilwoman Walker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, Mayor, thank you. And Pastor Norman, I'm just looking forward to how you're going to show up in this role. I know it's going to be trailblazing and transformative, I think, I know. And I'm looking forward. So thank you so much again, Mr. Mayor. All of these appointments, I think they're wonderful. I think you've made some good choices today. May God continue to bless you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, we look at attendance when we look at people who are on boards and things, and I can tell you, having been on the COVID task force with Reverend Norman, he was there every day. So I don't think we'll have to worry about that. We do have to worry about the Harvard thing, but besides that, we'll be okay. I don't think that was his alma mater, so I think we're okay, and I am in full support, and thank you for your service, my friend.
Thank you, Councilman. And just to echo and support the words of all of my colleagues, and especially what Councilwoman Logan started off with, our Land Use Control Board is one of the most important things that determines the trajectory of our neighborhoods. Whoever was in these seats long ago determined that right now, 2024, this is what South and North Memphis got to look like. Right, so it's important as we look to appointing you today as being part of that board and looking at how we can really make our neighborhoods beautiful and environmentally safe and sound for generations to come, and to not look back and wonder what were those folks on that board doing and what were their priorities, but actually people who have the people in mind, who have a loving and compassionate heart, and who also know about health and those disparity factors as well. So I'm excited to support your appointment, because I know you're going to keep us head in the right direction as we look at approving and denying, right, the things that our neighborhoods need or don't need. Colleagues, let's go ahead and go to a vote for the appointment of Memphis and Shelby County Land Use Control Board for same 9 minutes. Dr. Reverend Keith Norman. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. It'll go down this afternoon. Seeing no other business, this committee is adjourned.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Take a voice vote on the last item. Got so caught up in the explanation. Let's take a voice vote for that. Not that one, it's the one that we just had. Was that it? Yep, because it wasn't written. All righty. All of those in favor, let's say aye.
Aye.
Any against? It's an opinion of the chair that the ayes have it, so move. Thank you for that. Next, we have a resolution transferring, wait a minute, let me make sure one last time. Appropriating $250 in CIP allocated in FY25 CIP budget for pinch infrastructure improvements, District 7 and Super District 8, sponsored by administration.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington and seconded by Councilwoman Cooper Sutton. If you would, may have the floor.
All right, thank you. Ashley Cash, Housing and Community Development Division, 170 North Main. This is a CIP appropriation request. So we had our approved CIP budget, and we're trying to appropriate $250,000 for professional services for the Fast Track grant. This is a grant that the city received a number of years ago for infrastructure improvements in Pinch District. We received $36 million from the state for future development of the Pinch, supporting St. Jude projects as well, and we worked with Edge as partner on that. The city has made our $12 million match commitment, and once again, this is to request the appropriation of that $250,000 for professional services, which cannot be paid through the grant, and so we've been paying that through our CIP process. Just a quick update. So this project is for sewer relocation. We relocated sewer lines outside of St. Jude's campus. It's to improve power supply. There was a new transformer that was purchased and is in progress to be installed. And then also street upgrades and connectivity improvements around 2nd Street, up to A.W. Willis and Exchange Avenue, really to support St. Jude development and future development and power supply in the Pinch. We have a 1-year extension. This grant was supposed to end in October. We've got a 1-year extension through next October, and so these funds are helping to support that project.
Thank you. Anybody?
So do we have a contract in place? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, we do. We've been.
Contract in place, because I see that since we have to do the extension.
That is correct.
Is there a contracting problem?
There, no, if I answer your question correctly. So JT Malazri Engineering is the contractor on this project. They've been working with us for a number of years, working with the state, working with St. Jude, MLGW, and other vendors related to the agency. They are a minority-owned firm, and the other question was there a problem with the contract? No, there was not a problem with the contract. This project has had some challenges over time, just with being able to receive reimbursement, get funds back out on the street. The biggest hurdle was during the pandemic. Our downtown TDZ did not earn as much as we projected it to earn, and so those funds had to be diverted, or they prioritized debt service over this project. And so over the couple of years, we have been working to identify ways to continue the project on, which has caused that reason that we are doing that 1-year extension.
So we will complete it in this 1 year extension?
Yes, that is correct. We will. We've had many meetings to try to figure out how to make it work, and we will complete it. We've got a really good reimbursement schedule. There was some back end jobs report that had to be submitted. We got all that back end worked out, and so yes, we'll be able to complete that within this next 18 months. Yes, ma'am.
So all our challenges and barriers have been resolved.
Ooh.
All right. You're the floor.
The known ones. Thank you.
Yeah, I just needed to know, because this is new to me.
Yes.
So I just like to ask a lot of questions just to fully understand. I know the CPI dollars are already allocated, already out there. That has nothing to do with us taking the taxpayers' money, but just making sure that I get a full understanding, especially if I get a policy. What's that?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cooper, I can elaborate.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. right, thank you, Councilwoman. No problem at all. We want to make sure we all understand under our purview things. Is there any further discussion on this item? If not, we're going to go to a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. So moved. And this item carries. We're on item number 3, which is a resolution to appropriate $500,000 in CIP allocated in FY25 CIP budget for Fairgrounds redevelopment, CD 01107, District 4 and Super District 8, sponsored by administration. Request for same night minutes. May I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington and second by Councilwoman Walker. Director,
Yes.
you're
All
recognized.
right, thank you, Ashley Cash again. So I just want to clarify one thing. So this is what we call an older project number. That's why it's under Fairgrounds and it's separate from Liberty Park. But essentially, we are requesting that y'all appropriate $500,000 of CIP dollars. Several years ago, when we started the Liberty Park project, one of the public components was to replace the track and field area that now the private development is on. So that used to be a track right there in the northeastern corner. These funds we actually had some money in CIP, but I think for future years that had not been carried over as of yet. And so this $500,000 will allow us for the planning and design work for that track and field public asset for our community somewhere near the site of Liberty Park. So this is a replacement track and field, and the funds are for planning and design, architecture and engineering work to actually come back and be able to construct that for the community.
Okay, you said it's replacing the track and field.
The track that was that was in the northeast corner of the site. So it used to be a track up there that's no longer there.
Okay, all right, thank you. Councilman Warren.
So you said in the general area, where are y'all looking?
So we've kind of explored a couple of options, and once again, this project is in partnership with the Parks Division. We're happy to come back with to you all and/or have some individual conversations about. But we've looked at the area around Toby Park. I think there's some discussion, or Toby Fields, excuse me. I think there's been some discussions around Willow, but we're trying to keep it in close proximity to where it was, so that one, it's in the center of our city, but also community members and schools that previously benefited from that track and field, those amenities, have the same access to it. But that's one of the things to figure out, right sizing, what's the most appropriate place for that track to go.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any? Oh, sure, we can bring you back.
Yes. Okay, we can do that.
You all can come back to the next meeting and just bring a presentation if you have. Okay, all right, thank you. Let's see, is there any further discussion on this item? And all right, let's go to a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. This item carries. Any other council member have any business that needs to be discussed in this committee? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the August 6th meeting of Planning and Zoning. Ms. Golden, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Carlisle. Here. Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Here, present.
Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Present.
Councilman Ford. Councilwoman Green.
Present.
Councilwoman Logan.
Present.
Councilman Smiley. Councilman Spinoza. Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Present.
Councilwoman Walker.
Present.
Councilman Warren.
Present.
Councilwoman White. Chair Canale.
Here, Chair observes a quorum. Colleagues, we have 6 items on the agenda today. Under our new process where we no longer hear the item in committee and send it downstairs that day, that there's always a 2-week gap between hearing it in committee and main meeting. I would ask that especially on items 2, 3, and 4, you're more than welcome to ask direct questions of DPD or of the applicant. I would ask that you reserve your opinions on these items for 2 weeks and express those in the main meeting. Everybody good with that? Great. Yes. Item number 1, a resolution approving an honorary street name change on Horn Lake Road between Shelby Drive and 3rd Street for Dr. Glenda Baskin Glover, District 6, Super District 8, sponsored by Councilman Ford Sr.
Move it. Second.
Moved by Carlisle, seconded by Swearingen Washington.
No, he's not.
Okay. All those in favor of sending this down with a positive recommendation signify by saying aye. Aye. I'm also an aye. That passes.
We had some items, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Without objection, I'll hear you. Do you want to speak on this, Councilman, or do you want to wait till downstairs? Okay. We've added that with same night minutes, if that's okay with you. Yes. All right. Item 2, MJR 24-2019-25 Union Avenue, request for a major modification to permit a drive-through restaurant and something. Extension for SUP 21-39, District 4, Super District 9. Can I get a motion in a second?
Move it. Second.
Moved by JSW, seconded by Cooper Sutton. DPD, floor is yours.
Apologies. Good afternoon, Nicholas Wardrop, Division of Planning and Development. This is the request for a Whataburger restaurant, a drive-through restaurant at 1925 Union Avenue. I'm going to try to keep this brief and save the bulk of the presentation for the public hearing, but I'm here for questions. Here's a location map. We're at 1925 Union Avenue. That's in Council District 4. Here's some photos of the existing conditions of the site. A little background on this is that this is the former MPD Traffic Division site, which Council approved the sale of in July of 2021. Council then in February of 22 approved a special use permit for a hotel on the condition that any future attempts to construct a drive-through restaurant would receive council approval. So that's why this is before you today. And I will also note that both staff and the Land Use Control Board are recommending rejection of this. Here is the exact language of the condition, which is the reason why this needs council approval. So council in 2022 approved this hotel here, but what you see on the screen in yellow is the proposed Whataburger site. Get this. Here are some elevations. Full resolution elevations are available online. We determined this request is not consistent with the Memphis 3.0 comprehensive plan. And in conclusion, we find that a drive-through restaurant at this location is inconsistent with Memphis 3.0. And we'd also like to note that the special use permit itself has expired, but approval of this item would extend it for 2 years. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, any questions Remember, direct questions to DPD or the applicant. Please reserve your opinions for 2 weeks for the main meeting. Also, I'm going to request that we send all these down with no recommendation. Councilman Warren, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. So I guess my question is, I thought there was going to be a hotel here in housing. What's the story with that? Have the developer decided just to put a drive-through restaurant through?
So, yes, as far as I know, that's still the plan. If you can look at the screen, what you see to the left, so the area that's highlighted in yellow is the drive-through site, which to the left is the hotel site, and to the rear is the residential use.
And what used to be in the yellow site? What was the original plan for that?
So when they came to committee during the RFP process, the exact language on their presentation was commercial retail building with varied tenants.
Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Just to kind of clearly understand, so you all have rejected, this has been rejected by you all for the drive-through, for the water, what is it, Whataburger?
Whataburger.
Oh,
yes, ma'am.
Whataburger.
Whataburger.
What a burger, yeah.
It's a great restaurant.
Both staff and the Land Use Control Board have recommended rejection of this.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with about a hotel. This is, we're not even talking about, this is what's before us.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, and you have rejected, I read through it, your rejection, and then some of the letters that's been sent out as well, letters of opposition. So, okay, just wanted to make sure that it had nothing to do with the hotel. We're dealing with what a burger. Okay, thank you. I yield the floor.
Thank you. Councilman Walker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is being rejected because it's not consistent with the Memphis 3.0 plan. Is that the only reason?
No, that's not the only reason. Was trying to keep it brief for this presentation.
I appreciate that, but we need the information.
Sure, absolutely. So it's inconsistent with Memphis 3.0 is one reason why. Another reason why is that the governing bodies in 2022 imposed a designated frontage standard for this site, and this project does not meet those. So that's another reason.
Are those the only two?
And if I may add, Brett Ragsdale with DPD, another reason that we are recommending rejection is this is along the new bus rapid transit line, and there is intended to be more pedestrian-oriented and less auto-oriented development along here, so that was yet another reason that we recommend a rejection of this.
Okay, so this is not my district, but there may be something similar coming to my district, so that's why I'm of particular interest. So specifically as it relates to Memphis 3.0, what makes it not flow with that plan?
So the main thing that is looked at when you're determining Memphis 3.0 consistency is its consistency with the future land use map. So that's what you see here in the bottom left of your screen. And Memphis 3.0 calls the future land use map designates this area as anchor neighborhood mix of building types, which is not consistent with this built form. It's looking more for, a consistent wall of buildings along the street, more pedestrian friendly, less auto-oriented uses. So that's the major thing.
Okay, and then I think this will be my last question. So what did you say about the frontage, the other reason?
So in 2022, both City Council and the County Commission imposed designated frontage standards for this section of Union Avenue. And the intent of that was to complement the Innovation Corridor project in part. What those do is they require that a certain percentage of the front of the site have a building on it, right? So it's a continuous wall of building along the street. This project would not meet those requirements.
So is that like what they have over at the Chick-fil-A? Yeah. Is that the same thing?
Across the street? Not exactly. I think that does create the building wall, but as the graphic on the screen here shows what this is intended, a building frontage, the standards for this frontage designation, it would be a building with activity and transparency, so windows along the street, and so more activation of that space. So it's more building, also more transparency in windows.
Are the sidewalks larger?
For this, we do, I'm not sure if we require on this frontage a larger sidewalk, but we do have the building set up closer. So there's like a 7 to 15 foot sidewalk or a setback, and there's opportunities for outdoor seating in that sidewalk area. So there's a mixture of sidewalk and grass strips and street trees, and it just depends on the section of street that we're developing at that time. So we would look on either side of that to see how it relates to the other adjacent properties and develop a streetscape that would complement those.
Okay, thank you. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you. I'll reserve as many of my comments as I can for next week because it'll be hopefully more impactful. But just some history, and I may mess up a slight detail here or there, but roughly 2.5 years ago, the city of Memphis made a decision under Jim Strickland and Doug McGowan to sell, to take to market the former traffic precinct on Union Avenue. It received 3 viable offers at 3 different purchase prices. I think $3.2 million was the highest number, which went to the group that is proposing to build the hotel. They also knew that, and for those of you that don't know, the front of the property by right can go up to 10 stories. The back of it sits in the historic district that is it Idlewild or is it Central Gardens?
It's Central Gardens.
Central Gardens Historic District, which is why there are townhomes back there, because they can't build any real commercial use. It has to go before landmarks. It has to get, just townhomes was the easiest thing to propose. I took issue with the entire transaction based on the fact that the leading development was a 2 or 3 story hotel, a limited service hotel. And at a $3.2 million purchase price, it's roughly 3 acres-ish, plus or minus 3 acres. So if you talk about 3 available acres for any development along Union Avenue, and you look at Union Avenue, the scarcity of real estate is strong, especially in a district with that kind of density, housing incomes, residential incomes. Like, it's a very viable corridor. It doesn't mean that it has to be up to 10 stories, but I raised the issue that it's going to end up just being a hotel. So I think, if I recall, I put a restriction on there that said they couldn't receive the building permit to build the hotel until they built either what was supposed to be a multi-tenant building and or the townhomes, so that it wasn't the city selling a $3 million site just to get a 2-story limited service hotel, which down Union Avenue over history, whether it was the Bimbo or whatever, those hotels have cycled. We've had issues up and down, and I think I'll repeat my comments. It's nothing to impugn these developers. It was to say that I don't think the citizens and the people of Midtown were looking for a Hampton Inn or Hilton Garden Inn right there at that site. And because the city was selling it, we had a say in what it was going to be. So I walked them through the math of, you paid $3.2 million for it. I don't know what it costs. In full disclosure, obviously our family's in the Wendy's business, but nowhere in this area. So we're of no conflict. But I walked through the math of, it takes about $1.4 million to $1.7 million to build a Wendy's. The real estate can cost anywhere between $200,000 to $700,000. So you're in about $2.1 million. I can take that building and put a lease on it for any amount I want, but say it's 8% of sales. And then I can go take that out to the market and sell it anywhere between a 5.5 and a 6.5 cap on a 20-year lease, which means I can go and get about $3.5 million for that. So the day that I build my restaurant, I've covered my restaurant costs and I've covered a majority of my land cost. And so at the time, it was, well, we don't necessarily need that. We accept that it's not going to be a drive-through restaurant, especially since we had so many along Union Avenue. And if you've ever tried to back up or get out or queue, it's a real nightmare. It's actually how the Chick-fil-A got settled. And the difference between the Chick-fil-A is that there was a historic church there, and they had to retain that wall. My point is that I also predicted that I thought we'd be right back in this position where we are today, about 2 or 3 years from that moment, and this is where we are. I'm supportive, or can get over the hotel use there, because I think that Midtown needs more. Just like I said with Liberty Park, I don't think that we struck the best deal, but the hotel is necessary. You really only have the Memphis and a couple of other hotels as options, and there aren't really great options for people that are coming in with, if you've ever gone on a sports trip, you get a connecting room at $100 a night, and that's your weekend trip for whatever sport your kids are playing in or whatever's going on. So I'm supportive of the hotel. very supportive of the townhomes, especially given its proximity. And I know members will recall there was concern, I think Councilman Ford and some others, there was concern about what kind of hotel would be operated in proximity to an elementary school. And I assure you, the developers are a good group. They were great to work with. I see Mr. Massie out here, great guy to work with. I just take the position that I don't think it was a good deal for the city at the time. And I never thought that a drive-through restaurant, and by the way, I love Whataburger. I went to school in Texas. Great product. I'm glad they're in the marketplace. But I think the city missed out on an opportunity by selling this asset on the basis that it was going to get these things. And now we're just really talking about building up one fast food restaurant. I will wait until next week to allow the applicant, and we can get into what their plans are and the timing are. And I think that's fair for them to be able to update the group on that. But ultimately, it doesn't change my opinion that putting a drive-through restaurant right there with a limited service hotel and then praying and hoping to get townhomes in the back is what really got the neighborhood kind of on board with it is the right thing to do. I know that's a little bit more of a color commentary, but I think the context of what happened and how this transaction went down and how we ended up with these restrictions is very important to where we are today. And so I'll leave it at that, and we can get into it more in 2 weeks, but I thought that would be fair context. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Colleagues, all those in favor of sending this with no recommendations, item will be heard in full council in 2 weeks, signify by saying aye. Aye. I'm also an aye. Any opposed? That item passes. Item number 3, PD 23-29, 4701 Boeingshire Drive. The request is a plan development amendment for 11 residential lots in area 2B of the previous entitled Summers Planned Development. District 3, Super District 8. Can I get a motion in a second?
Good afternoon.
Moved by Warren, seconded by Cooper Sutton. DPD, floor is yours.
Good afternoon. This is Masano Stadnia with DPD. This is PD 2023-029. The applicant is Dolphin Construction, and it is located within the residential urban 3, and it's currently governed by the existing Summers Planned Development. You can see the location map, the vicinity map, and also the zoning and the land use map. Here are a few pictures of the site. The site is currently vacant, and this is part area 2B that you can see the recorded outline plan. Here is the concept plan, and based on the Memphis 3.0, this use is consistent. The applicant wants to have an amendment for 11 residential lots in area 2B, which has been governed by the Summers Plan Development. In conclusion, this is a non-residential, the area 2B eliminates non-residential uses in favor of the development of 11 residential lots. And in terms of the land use transition from Shelby Drive south to Alkmont Road, the proposed land use change to Area 2B is an even better transition in intensity of the use to the single-family homes in the abutting Red Oak subdivision. Whereas currently Area 2B could be developed with a variety of non-residential uses such as offices, computers, sales and services, an art supply store, music or dancing academy, and a duplicating and blueprint establishment. The amendment would place townhouse, semi-attached, and single-family detached homes in Area 2B, offering the opportunity for the new ownership. The staff recommended approval with conditions, but the Land Use Control Board decided to reject this case. And that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Councilwoman Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that. So this was rejected for multiple reasons. What were a couple of the most compelling?
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Walker. So the Lanes Control Board, we did recommend approval of this, and as Ms. Estania mentioned, this currently allowed uses are office and commercial, and so we looked at this as a better transition to the existing residential. I think some of the opposition was just concerned about adding more density to the area with any type of use, and so I think the Lanes Control Board, they listened to that. I think that was some of their concerns as well. So right now, this is townhomes with 3 larger lots in the rear. So it's a lower density than what a potential commercial would be. But I think there was just discussion at the Land Control Board, and that's where they decided that the increased density of any kind was not appropriate in their opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all you got? Developer's not here, right?
We do have the applicant, yes.
David Bray with the Bray Firm, 2950 Stage Plaza North. I hit it, it turned green. Is it not working? Is that better now?
Yes.
Okay, is that better? Okay, I'll try that again. David Bray with the Bray Firm, 2950 Stage Plaza North. Mr. Batchelor, who's the applicant on this, had hoped to be here today for this meeting. Unfortunately, his wife's father passed yesterday morning, and so he's tied up with funeral arrangements and could not be here. We did hear the concerns from the residents, and one of the things that he and I discussed, and I'm going to apologize because I can't read lot numbers from this far away, but basically on the north side of that drive, there's 6 lots shown there. Combining each 2 of those and making them a total of 3 lots. So each 2 would combine, and then the 3 lots immediately south of the intersection would become 1 lot. So we would have a total of 6 lots in here, which would address the density issue to some extent.
Okay, thank you for that. In a previous hearing, I heard something about some environmental concerns. Can you speak to those?
At this time, we have not had a level 1 done. That would be done after we get approval of this. Obviously, if there are any concerns, we would address them. The track to the north was a gas station at one point, so there may be some concerns with this site and maybe some mitigation, but not anything that we're aware of at this time.
Is it possible to get some more information on that? Are there still tanks under the ground?
There were never tanks on this site. The tanks were on a site north of this, but it was all under one ownership at one point. So that's where the concern may come on a level 1.
So is it possible to get some additional information so we can just be
yes, ma'am,
absolutely sure?
Yes, ma'am. We can have that level 1 done. I don't know if we can have it done in 2 weeks, but we can get the process started.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to recognize Red Oaks, if they could stand. Don't want him to say anything, but just recognize their presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm looking and I don't understand exactly what the community problem would be with building extra houses there. It's like you'd be making your community larger and perhaps stronger. So I'm wondering, Mr. Ragsdale, can you sort of describe what their issues were other than density, if the density issue is no longer present with just making these regular house lots?
Yes, Councilman Warren, I'll try to speculate to a certain extent because we did have the opposition. We do have the opposition letters. Again, this is allowed right now for commercial uses, and so I think that may not have been really very clear, but I think just the density, because it's been a vacant lot for some time, and so I think that anytime there's some density there, I think the applicant's proposal to reduce that density that we just heard would further, add to what you said, that it would increase the housing there, but at a lower extent, and also it would remove the allowed commercial uses that are allowed right now by right.
So if someone bought that property and wanted to put a strip mall in there, they could do that right now, and there would be nothing that could be done to stop that. Is that correct?
Correct, within the conditions of the PD, so certain uses, but that is correct, yes.
Okay, and what is the conditions in that PD? What we saw earlier, it could be a dance studio, and that's what the original PD was?
Correct.
And they're trying to take it from commercial to residential?
That's correct.
All right. And Mr. Bray, have you gone back and talked to the neighborhood association after you've reduced the density here? And how has that discussion gone?
That was a decision that Mr. Batchelor gave me Monday morning.
Monday morning. So this is the first time anybody in this community has heard about this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know the council would like for, at least I would like to see how the community responds to that thought process. And when we have this come up in 2 weeks, I'd like to know how that meeting went.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Colleagues, all those in favor of sending this downstairs in 2 weeks with no recommendation, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Also an aye. Any noes? That item passes. Item number 4, SUP 24-09, 3769 Outland Road, request for a special use permit to allow a convenience store with gasoline sales, District 3, Super District 8. Can I get a motion in a second?
Move it.
Moved by JSW, seconded by Cooper Sutton. Mr. Ragsdale, you may proceed.
Nicholas Wardrop, Planning and Development. This is a request for a SUP to allow a convenience store with gas sales at 3769 Outland Road. Here is a location map so we know where we are. We're here on the corner of Outland Road and Cromwell Avenue. Here's some more aerial images of the site. And so here are some site photos. So one important thing to know about this one is that they are proposing to reuse this existing building here, which used to be a laundromat, for the convenience store use, and then add a canopy with gas pumps in front of it. Here's their concept plan. We determined that this request is consistent with the Memphis 3.0 comprehensive plan. And so in conclusion, this property, which was most recently utilized as a laundromat, they're planning to reuse it. Of course, because the principal structure already exists, the canopy will have to be out front. And in short, we recommend approval of this.
Thanks, sir. Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
Thank you, Chair. I've gone out to the property and looked at it, and I did meet with the community. And this location has I think it's a daycare center, if I'm not mistaken, like right behind it. Then right down the street on the corner, right there, if I'm not mistaken, there is already a gas station there. When I went in the community to meet with them, the lighting was really bad, and the community is really not interested in it. We tried to reach out. The community has tried to reach out to the developer, and no response. And so I think they need to really just talk to the developer before we move forward with this to see what's going on. The community would not like the gas station. There's already high crime out there, and gas station seems to bring more criminal activity. And the community is trying to deal with that right now on their own, trying to get that at a lower level, and they're really fighting really hard. So, just to see where it is, I have a couple pictures. I wish I would have put them up. I took my own pictures, and it's really sad, what it looks like. But they are rejecting it. The property beside it, I don't know who owns it, is not in a safe looking condition. But the community is not interested in the gas station, just like most of these communities are with these gas stations. But the thing is, Mr. Ray, they have tried to reach the developer to sit down to talk, and the developer has not returned any phone calls. or agreed to that. From my understanding from the community. I yield the floor.
Yes, I can speak to that. Aaron K. Robinson, Berry Properties Incorporated.
You got to get closer.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, good. Aaron Robinson, Berry Properties Incorporated. We have not received an invitation from the community. Of course, as developers, that's our part to ignite the meeting in the first place. But we have not received any invitation. I have not received a text, a phone call, or an email, nor has the company received anything.
But we would be more than happy to set up a meeting
Correct.
and have another meeting.
Yes, that is most definitely what the community would like to do, and to have a meeting so we can discuss around the possibility what this may become or might look like for them.
Absolutely.
So, if you don't mind, would the community stand those that are here just to recognize that they are here? Well, it was more than that a couple weeks ago, but thank you. But they are here.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Bray, on both cases 3 and 4, I would recommend that you get with Councilwoman Walker, because it's her single district, but also the other members of Super District 8 before these 2 items come back in 2 weeks. Councilwoman Walker, you recognize.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So for clarity, the opposition and the developer have not had a meeting together.
We had the original neighborhood meeting that was back in February. Don't recognize, but maybe 1 or 2 people that showed up at that meeting. Certainly not that level of attendance. So we can have another meeting.
Okay. Okay, I lost my thoughts. So I guess I'm just going to have to yield the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman. Colleagues, all those in favor of sending item 4 downstairs in 2 weeks with no recommendation, please signify by saying aye. I'm also an aye. Any noes?
Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
The address, I'm having a misunderstanding with the address. I'm sorry, I should have said it earlier. There's so much going on with these two here. It says 3769 Island Road, and I took a picture of the building. Are you sure that's?
It's 3679.
On my picture, because I thought it was wrong. It is 3745 that I took the picture of it. So is this the correct? I took a picture because when I looked in it and did the research and they called me out, I got lost because of the wrong address. So are we talking about the same place? That's the first thing that's a concern.
Mr. Ragsdale, our title says 3769, and your staff report, it says 3679.
And the building says 3745.
Yes, and that does appear to be correct. So
Which one's correct?
3745 is what it says on the zoning atlas. So we will definitely go back and take a look at that. I think that there was a transposed numbers, as you mentioned, from the staff report, but we need to go back to the application.
I think the register site has it as the 3769.
Yeah, I think that the application had 3679, and I think the assessor may have that, or so we will double check.
Okay, let's see if we get that cleared up in 2 weeks. Okay. You want to ask one more question?
Yeah, so thank you. So at the previous meeting in February, there were 2 community members there.
I'd have to go back and look at the sign-in sheet. I think we had a total of 5 people. Representative from the developer was there, myself, so 2 or 3.
Okay, that's fine. So, but at that meeting, you all shared what your plans were for the property.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted that clarification. Okay, thank you. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Colleagues, item number 5, SUP 24-185225 Summer Avenue requests a special use permit to allow apartments, District 2, Super District 9. Can I get a motion in a second?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by JSW, seconded by Warren. DPD, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Ms. Christian will present this case for us, and Ms. Reeves is here to answer any questions as well as for the applicant.
Good afternoon. I'm Chloe Christian with DPD presenting case SUP 2024-018. The applicant is not here, but Sydney Reeves is here as representation. The location is at 5225 Summer Avenue, and the request is a special use permit to allow apartments. For a location map, it is located right outside the I-40 loop, and 29 notices were sent out on May 15th of this year. It is zoned commercial mixed use 3, and it is designated as commercial on the land use map. Here are some site photos. It is or was currently operating as a hotel. This is the back corner of the subject property. And this is the site plan that was submitted. Here's a magnified version of the site plan. The request was determined to be consistent with the 3.0 comprehensive plan. And so DPD recommended approval with conditions, and the LUCB also recommended approval with conditions for this. And here are the conditions. And that concludes my presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Colleagues, as was noted, the owner applicant could not get to town because of weather-related issues. Mrs. Reeves here if you have any questions. If not, the owner applicant will be here in 2 weeks, full council. Any questions? Very good. All those in favor of sending this downstairs in 2 weeks with no recommendation, please signify by saying aye. I'm also an aye. Any noes? That item passes. Item 6, CTA 24-02, annual amendments to the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code. Request is adopt amendments to the Memphis Shelby County Unified Development Code, all council districts. Mr. Zena. Well, first, can I get a motion in a second?
Move it. Second.
Moved by JSW, second by Warren. Mr. Zena, Councilwoman Green wants to make sure that her amendment is memorialized in her name.
It's my favorite title for an amendment.
John Zena, Planning and Development. I have 3 favorite titles of amendments, and they go thusly. So let's start with the Green Amendment, which has to do with our mobile food trucks. What we are attempting to do here is clean up to add what we were going to add in the ZTA, but also clean up the issue that Councilwoman Green had so that she can have a food truck for her husband's birthday party as well as hers and her children's. What we talked about was that the limitation on temporary use permits that is already in the Unified Development Code at any single address is capped at 4. So what we're doing here in the Green Amendment is revising section 2.83 to say that unless otherwise noted, no property shall have more than 4 of the events listed below. And there's a lot of different types of events that are listed below this in the UDC, but maybe more importantly, 2.83G, which is being proposed to be added in the ZTA, will now include that last sentence that's highlighted. No property in a residential zone shall have more than 6 events in 1 calendar year where mobile food trucks are allowed to operate under a temporary use permit. So Councilwoman Green has her whole family covered, plus 1 in case maybe your mom?
Maybe. I want to point out that I actually did take a screenshot of a Facebook post in my neighborhood group this weekend where they were talking about bringing in a food truck on the regular basis and how everybody was like, yes, I'm in. I'm so excited. I said, I don't know what it is about Kirby Woods, but I'm excited that we're protecting our food truck ability.
I did respond to ask, did she let her neighbors know that under the law now they require a special use permit? And she just laughed. So every 6 times, yeah. So that is the Green Amendment. I don't know, Mr. Chair, if you want to just vote these one by one or what. Okay. All right. Well, that's just one. Now we have the Swearingen Washington Amendment. So my second favorite amendment name here. So Councilwoman Swearingen Washington has asked about everyone's favorite used tire shops. If you recall, council members, some of you were on the council, some of you were not, but a few years ago, the city council took some actions to make used tire shops, to separate used tire shops from new tire shops in the Unified Development Code. New tire shops would fall under the vehicle service definition. Used tire shops would fall under the vehicle repair definition. And then we took some additional action to separate where vehicle service and vehicle repair could be located. So what the concern is that's been brought to my attention is that there are perhaps still far too many opportunities for these used tire shops to be located by right in some of our areas. So what we are proposing here are a couple of things. One that has to do with limiting the areas where they can be located, but one of them also adding some use provisions related specifically to vehicle repair establishments that further limit the location of used tire shops based on distance from one another, and then also to address some frontage aesthetics of used tire shops. So the first thing that we are, Councilwoman Swearingen Washington is recommending here, is to remove the special use permit for vehicle repair establishments, the special use permit option from CMU1 and CMU2, which of course are our two more sort of neighborhood commercial districts. And then also removing it by right from the CBD district. That was probably something we should have done a few years ago, but I figured while we were at it, no more vehicle repair by right in our downtown area. And then the specific use provisions that would be added, this is new, 263P5, related specifically to vehicle repair establishments, essentially requiring that any vehicle repair establishment that offers used tire sales or mounting be located with at a distance at 1,320 feet, which is a quarter mile from another used tire shop. So that's going to reduce our likelihood of concentration. The other thing, too, that we're adding is no outdoor display of used tires for sale shall be allowed in any zoning district except EMP, WD, IH. Those are our industrial districts. So they would still be able to display used tires for sale in our industrial districts, but not in any of our commercial districts and certainly any others. And then, of course, that's subject to subsection 484A, which has to do with outdoor display. So that's just referencing that section of the code. But that is the Swearingen-Washington Amendment. All right, and finally, last but not least, the Walker Amendment. And to be fair, Councilwoman Walker, I hope you don't mind if I say this, to be fair, I probably ought to call this the Walker to Logan Amendment, because the first person who ever asked me about this was Councilwoman Logan. So you'll be happy to see this too. Councilwoman Walker asked what would be the possibility of expanding the radius for mailed notice for any cases that require mailed notice. Specifically, she asked from 500 feet to 750 feet. So essentially what we are proposing here is just that, based on Councilwoman Walker's request, anywhere where 500 feet radius of mailed notice is required in the code, and that's not only on this table, but then there's also several other just notations throughout the code where there's a reference to a 500 feet mailed notice requirement, and so the 500 is just being changed to 750. Now, I do want to just note that is what I've asked is that be made effective November 1st, and Councilwoman Walker's agreed to that. We'll if it's adopted, that'll get just written into the ordinance. And that would allow us to notify applicants to make sure nobody gets tripped up in the in-between as their cases are moving forward. But also, council members, you should be aware that this is going to have a little bit of a fiscal note to it, because there is a budget that we have really in the finance department when there are public notices that go out from essentially council records for public hearings that are held. There's a budget that gets drawn down for those notices. And so since we're going from 500 feet to 750 feet, that's a 50% increase in distance. I would just say, as a shorthand, we probably ought to consider that this is about a 50% increase in that budget. Now, this isn't a large budget, and you'll have to pardon me, I don't have the exact number, but that is a fiscal impact that we need to consider. And of course, that's just the fiscal impact on council records. It has a fiscal impact on us as well. Not too concerned about that. We can recoup with fees down the road. It also has a fiscal impact on the applicants as well. But generally, whatever the cost of that mailed notice would be, just add about a 50% increase to that. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions about these three suggested amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Zena. Colleagues, please note this item will not be heard this evening. It will be held 2 weeks so that it syncs up with the county commission. Councilwoman Walker and Councilman Warner in the queue. If you could, please make it quick. I do want to give the chairman a few minutes so we can start the main meeting on time.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this presentation, and I appreciate the additional information that you shared with me as we talked through this. Thank you so much, and I yield the floor.
Thank you. Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as car repair shops in the Central Business District, do we already have them there?
Yes, sir.
So what happens to those?
They would become legal non-conforming uses.
And after I've got that business and I want to sell it to someone else, can they sell it?
They can sell it, yes.
Okay, and do they have to come back here for approval for us, or does they, as long as it's the same legal non-conforming business, does it continue in that spot, or do they have to get council approval?
It continues. The only time that they would need an approval is if they wanted to expand.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Colleagues, all those in favor of sending this item also downstairs, no recommendation, 2 weeks.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Do we want to dispose of the amendments now? Because I will need to take these across the street tomorrow.
Okay, we will not vote on this item now. I'll wait to hear back from you, or do you want us to vote on them?
By disposing of these amendments, I mean, if there's no objection to the amendments, do you want to go ahead and make a motion to add these to the ZTA?
Without objection, these will be added to the ZTA. Any objection? Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Anything else for P&Z? We're adjourned.
It is 3:18. I call the executive session of the Memphis City Council to order. Mr. Isom, you know what to do.
Councilwoman Easton Thomas. Present. Councilwoman Green. Present. Councilman Ford. Councilman Carlisle. Present. Councilwoman Logan. Present. Councilwoman Swearengin Washington.
Present.
Councilwoman Pearl Walker. Present. Councilman Dr. Warren. Present. Councilwoman Cooper Sutton.
And I'm here as well. All right, we have, I think, a couple items on the agenda for today. Item number 1, discussion of the physical consent agenda for August 6, 2024, all council districts, requested by apparently me. Anyone? Huh?
Discussed.
Discussed?
Discussed.
Anyone wish to speak on this item?
We're required to discuss the fiscal consent, so we discussed.
Any council members wishing to speak on the physical consent agenda?
I like it.
Duly noted.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Item number 2. It was a thorough discussion. Yeah. I'm going to get to it. Hold on. Item number 2. And it's one of the things you all decided to move to the executive session. And I'm eager to hear it. A resolution to amend the Memphis City Council grant program for FY25. All council districts requested and sponsored by Councilwoman Logan, Councilman Swears, and then also Dr. Warren, because he also
Move it.
as well.
And this is moved with same 9 minutes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Swearengin Washington.
They are, if I may, Chairman.
Go ahead.
Staff is working on the document now. We had some people in and out, but colleagues will send this down without a recommendation and then vote on it tonight. But there are 3 changes to draw your attention to that you'll see in the document when you get it. Councilwoman Swearengin Washington has proposed moving the threshold for grants amounts from 30% of the total operating budget to 40%. And then on the advice of the Grants Administration Office, that the minimum grant out of the City Council grant program move to $10,000. And then lastly, there was a second resolution that's now been asked to be amended into this master resolution that would allow for 14 or 15 days, but it's 2 weeks really, so we'll call it 10 business days, which is 2 full weeks, to reopen this year's grant program. So those are the 3 amendments in the document. For what it's worth, on the last one, the administration has already opened it back up for 2 weeks, and this is allowing them 3 weeks. Oh, yeah, and the last one, I'm sorry, there was a 4th thing, I'll get there. They've already administratively reopened the grants program to allow a lot of those organizations an opportunity. Some of them were just clerical in nature, so this was to allow, to ratify what they were already doing. And yes, I'm sorry, there was a 4th one. The 4th one was, in the years past, we have had some significant issues with some grant recipients, and so in order to stop some of the issues, we basically said if you couldn't follow the proper protocol, you were banned for 3 years. Well, that's an entire term for some members, well, for everybody. So ultimately, this amends it down to where if you are denied or not compliant, thank you, you're only out for the following fiscal year. So those are the changes to the document. You'll see them in red line downstairs. And with that, I yield the floor.
All right. So sitting downstairs with no recommendations. Go ahead, Dr. Warren.
I'm not sure about the $10,000 minimum.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to
grant.
be able to get some of those changes as well.
Now's not the time. This is mechanical.
So we can move it down. All right. All those in favor of moving it down with no recommendation? Okay, we're going to do it with enthusiasm next time. Any opposed? All right, it's the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it. Item number 3, resolution. This is the same item, so y'all combined those.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we're good on those. All right. Please note, items number 5 and 6 will be held until September 24th. I'm just going to slow down because I know Councilman Canale takes great notes. I don't. So items 5 and 6 will be held until September the 24th. Items 9 and 10 will be held until September the 10th. Item 3 will be held up.
8 and 9 are good. 10 and 11 we held till September 10th.
See?
That's why we do it.
You do it. Well, good job. So 10 and 11 will be held until September the 10th. Item 3 will be held until August 20th. Slow it down. That's what it has on here.
Item 10 and 11.
Right here.
Oh.
13.
13.
Will be held to the 20th of August.
You know, we don't fault you today. You were sick. But next week, I'm gonna be talking noise. All right, so item 13 will be held until August 20th. Item 25 will be held until October the 15th. All right, that brings us to our add-on items 30 through 35. The appointment of Chief Operating Officer Antonio M. Adams Sr. There's a request for same night minutes. The appointment of Chief Financial Officer Walter Person. There's a request for same night minutes. The appointment of Joanne Massie as the President and CEO of the Edge Board. Request for same night minutes. The appointment of Reverend Dr. Keith Norman to Memphis and Shelby County Land Use Control Board. Item number 34, resolution to appropriate $500,000 in CIP allocating FY25 CIP budget for Fairgrounds redevelopment CD 01107 District 4 and Super District 8, sponsored by the administration as a request for same night minutes. Item number 35, amended budget resolution. There's a request for same night minutes. The same night minute items are 1, 17, 18, 19, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. Does any other member of this body have anything wishing to say? All right, consider all hearts and minds are clear.
I got something.
I was so ready. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yes, quickly, I just want to remind everybody.
Speaking to your mic.
I just want to remind everyone about the public session, Q&A session for the XAI that MLGW is having this Saturday at Southwest Community College in Whitehaven. Details are on the MLGW website. Hope to see you there. If you're not interested, I know we've all received questions about it. Maybe you have someone you'd like to steer that way. Thank you all.
I'm actually glad I didn't hit the gavel. Thank you, Councilwoman. Good information. All right, we adjourn.
9 to 11 a.m. refreshments will be served.